Hello everybody, it's Maria here from Pepperly Rose Papercrafting. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Sydney, Australia. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to make a card featuring the Crackle paint background stamp, Butterfly Gala stamp set and the Butterfly Duet, I think, punch, that's what it's called. So we'll get started on this project and I'll show you everything else as we go along. I've got a piece of thick Whisper White cardstock. This is half an A4. Cut in half, and then I've scored it in half so it'll make an A6 card base. So I'll just burnish the score line that I have previously prepared. I'm just using my bone folder for that. I've got a layering piece of just regular Whisper White cardstock, and that just goes over the top of that layer, and then I've got a scrap piece of Whisper White. Now, what we're going to do with this background is we're going to do something that I love doing the most, and that is ink blending. So I'm going to bring in my craft sheet. This is a Ranger non-stick craft mat. I get lots of questions regarding this, and that's what this is. It's basically heat resistant and it's also non-stick, so it's really handy for heat embossing and mixed media, all sorts of stuff. It's really, really cool, so I highly recommend it. Oop, that's my glue. Now these are I'm going to use my makeup brushes. So the colours I'm using today are Crushed Curry, Petal Pink and Lovely Lipstick. Completely different to what I normally would use, but I thought it would be fun to do something a little different. So I'm just going to get my Petal Pink. And I'm going to, with whatever's left on the brush, I've got the scrap piece of Whisper White here, and I'm just going to colour this. My Stamparatus, and I'll get rid of the foam because I don't need the foam for my Crackle paint background stamp. I'm going to pop this up here. And grab that. What I'll do now is rub my embossing buddy all over this sheet. Okay, now with the Crackle paint, I'm going to get some Versamark ink pad, and I'm just going to just lightly, I don't want to go too hard, just go over the whole stamp. Okay, I'm not pressing it hard, so whether some of it takes or it doesn't, I don't mind. I don't want it to be too much. So now I'm just going to press it over the top. Just grab my microfiber cloth and just rub it. That way I don't drag my fingers across it and it's nice and smooth. So what I'll grab now is my clear embossing powder. Just put this to the side for a second. And I'm just going to pour it right over the whole thing. As you can see, it's taken up. So I'll just do see, not all of it stamped, which is fine because I like that it's kind of a bit random, and see, not all of it up took, and that's perfectly fine for me. So I'll just quickly go over here. This will look stunning. And that wasn't intentional, but I'm going to use that. Okay, and I think that looks great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat emboss this off camera, and I shall be back shortly. So I've just finished now heat embossing this, and I love the subtleness of the cracked paint. It just adds a really lovely, I'm not sure if you can see it, and I'll just see if I can angle it like that. Just really subtle and beautiful. Just adds a lovely sheen and just a crackle. So we'll leave that to the side. I think it looks great. I've got now this ink blended background stamp here, cardstock there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to just clean this up with all that Versamark ink. And then I'll put it away. And I've just got to be very careful with these newer adhesive backed stamps because they're quite good at staying on now. So make sure when you pull them off that you pull them off slowly, just like you would a photopolymer. So I've just got now my piece of here of cardstock, and I'm just going to grab my Butterfly Gala stamp set, and I was thinking of using this butterfly here, these butterflies here, and I'm going to ink them up like that. So I'll just put them like that on here for the time being. Whoops. And I need to bring back my foam. I'm going to rub my embossing buddy over the top of this. So I'll just do that up here and away from there. And what I will do is I'm going to ink it up in Versamark and keep the Versamark on. And then I'm going to use the lovely lipstick. Like that, over the top. And I'm going to stamp that. So it looks like that, and clean that off. And what I'll do with this, because lovely lipstick stains, is I'm going to use some of my my Stampin' Spritz. Just bear with me for a second. Okay, so I've got some Stampin' Spritz, and I'm going to spritz the stamps with the spritz, and I'm going to take the the plate off, and I'm just going to let it soak there for a while and try and get rid of the staining as much as I can. I don't know if I like this image, to be honest. Doesn't do it for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just grab another piece of paper, and I'm going to ink blend that. And I'll just grab my craft sheet. And I'll get my brush. And what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to even use that stamp anymore. Just get rid of a lot of the staining now has come off a little bit because I've soaked it for just a little bit and it comes off. So that's good. So what I will do is I'm going to ink blend this. It's funny, I had an idea in my head and it didn't quite work out, so I'll get rid of that other stamp because I'm not happy with that pattern for this particular card. Doesn't mean it's a bad stamp, it just means I didn't like it. And what I'll get instead is I'm going to bring back that sheet. I'm going to use this one here. I think that's really pretty. Over the top there like that. And I'm going to ink that up in Memento Tuxedo Black. Oh yeah, and I'm going to rub my embossing buddy over it because I'm going to heat emboss that image. Okay, so just make sure it's more intense. Oh yeah, that's more like it. Oh, that's so pretty. Now this is doing it for me. Okay, and then I'm going to add the Versamark over the top. Okay. All right, now that is beautiful. All right. I'm going to take off the stamp and then I'm going to use the clear embossing powder over the top. So I'll just grab that. Sorry about that noise. Get some clear embossing powder on my spoon there. Okay, so as you can see, the powder has stuck where the Versamark went. And I'm going to heat emboss this off camera and I'll be back. All right, so now I've heat embossed that and it's nice and shiny. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this and I'm going to get my Butterfly Duet Punch. Just going to stick it in there and we're going to cut that out. And I'll just grab my Pick Me Up tool. When the I've got a tip here for you. I'll just grab my Pick Me Up. You can use one of these. It's got some putty on the end of it. And what you can do, if the sheet is too small, is you can use that to position your page there. And then cut. And the bits that are left over, try and push them out of the way because they're so small. But that looks really pretty. I love that. Now my paper is stuck there, so I'm just going to put my scissors through there to push the page out. There we go. And that's all done. Now with this Pick Me Up, I can refill it with blue tack. So I just put that in there again. Start again. And the putty comes through again. So it's really cool. All right. Okay, so we're finished with that now. I'm just going to grab my card here. And that's the butterfly there and here. But what I'm going to do with this piece of paper is I'm going to grab my Stitch Shapes dies, and I'm going to use the largest of the squares, and I'm going to cut out a partial square. So I'll just secure that with a bit of tape. Then I'm going to run that through the big shot. So I'll just do that right there. Sorry, I'll just do that again. Grab my big shot. And cut that out. Take that away. And I've got a partially cut. See, I don't mind that that's cut off because that saves me the trouble of cutting it afterwards. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to pop that over here as a way to break up the colour. And then I'm going to add my butterflies, my 2 butterflies. And then I'm going to add a little sentiment down here, and I was thinking of adding, where is it? Hello, beautiful. And I think that's lovely. So I'll stamp Hello, beautiful. And I'm going to give this to a very special customer of mine. She's always so lovely. So I'm just going to give that to her. I'm going to pop that over here like that. I'll just grab my Stamparatus. I love using the Stamparatus because there's no issues with how these things stamp. Like they just stamp and straight. Put that towards the right hand side like that, and I'm going to ink that up with Memento. Oops. Just wipe off excess ink. And that's stamped perfect. See, that's why I like stamping with the Stamparatus, because you can use any stamping tool as well. It doesn't matter whether it's a Stamparatus or another one, but stamps perfectly. Now, I forgot, there is also the body of these little butterflies that I need to stamp. You know what? I have decided I'm not going to stamp these with the Stamparatus. It's just too hard. So I'm going to grab my, whatchamacallit, my acrylic blocks, and I shall be back. I'm going to stick this down using my glue. I'll just make sure I don't have any ink on my fingers because I don't want any marks on this. So I'll stick that down. So this is great, like, even though like I didn't cut the full shape, the full square, it's like I cut it off, which is what I wanted on the side. So that worked out well. And now with this, I'm going to add this like that. And then I'm going to add that over there like that. And I think that is super pretty. So I'm just going to add glue down the bottom, just on the body of the butterfly, but not the wings. And then I'll stick that down like that. And with this, I'll stick down again with just the body, the glue. And that is so beautiful. Look at that. So I'm now going to add this onto the card base. Okay. And that is my finished card for today. I love the way this turned out in the end. And I love the subtleness of the crackle paint background. I think that just adds a beautiful touch. And I love the way the butterflies turned out as well. And the colours were just slightly more intense than the actual background, but this is perfection the way that turned out. And who knew that Crushed Curry, Petal Pink and Lovely Lipstick can look so subtle. Just love the way that turned out. These stitch shape dies are fantastic to have in your collection. So thank you so much for watching. And all of this will be available in my online store at pepperlyrose.stampinup.net. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.